Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just gonna be officially updating you guys on some more current latest news. As I said, I've been to college today, so I haven't really had chance. I haven't had the chance today to do a current live video. But as I've been reading recent reports of what's been going on about transfer rumours, potentially possibly players leaving and playing to the end of the deal. So I have read a couple of media reports today, and this is regarding David De Gea. Reportedly, Jose Mourinho has come out in the press, and he's basically said as Mourinho that David De Gea wants to stay at Manchester United. We know there's been rumours stemming that he could be potentially going to Paris Saint-Germain or Juventus, and reportedly now Jose Mourinho has changed his mind because he's now saying that he's confident that De Gea will sign and will agree a new long-term deal at Manchester United. This is what Jose Mourinho thought, that if we are to secure David De Gea a new deal at Manchester United, Manchester United are where it would have to be a deal worth 300,000 a week, which would potentially make him, the highest paid goalkeeper as well. But Mourinho said 3-4 weeks ago, quite a while ago, he wasn't too confident De Gea was going to sign this new deal. But Mourinho's now changed his perspective on it. He feels though now David De Gea wants to stay at the club, and potentially Jose Mourinho said he's convinced that De Gea will sign a new deal as well. We do have the option to extend his contract by a further 12 months, David De Gea, but with Man United have been into securing David De Gea this new deal. But potentially it hasn't looked successful as David De Gea has refused it. But potentially it confirmed in the press the other week that Paris Saint-Germain, it was said he could potentially make a sensational move to Paris Saint-Germain next summer. Potentially it says PSG willing to offer him in the region of around 60 million, plus a 4-year deal, plus £300,000 a week, and a 15-year 15 million annual salary as well for the goalkeeper. It also said George Mendes, currently David De Gea's representatives, had been in potential discussions with Juventus about him potentially moving there as well, but there has been talks about that. So David De Gea's future is still uncertain at the club. It's not being fully verified if he's going to stay or he's going to depart the club. He's made over 2 century appearances for Manchester United in the Premier League. He's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. Jose Mourinho has praised him. He has a lot of faith for him. Does Jose Mourinho, and potentially he has been Premier League now, is it 8 years, something like that, reason up the ranks fantastically well with Atletico Madrid. He's been obviously linked with Real Madrid, for a long time as well. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him in 2015, but currently didn't. So there has been reports today about that Mourinho wants him to stay. Mourinho says that David De Gea wants to stay at the club, and Mourinho's convinced now that he will end up signing a new deal potentially at the club, and it will be a deal worth £300,000 a week. This potentially would make David De Gea stay because obviously it'd make him the highest paid goalkeeper. But obviously, according to the press, it said Paris Saint-Germain were willing to offer him £300,000 a week plus a 4-year deal. But we know Paris Saint-Germain are obviously under financial fair play regulations, as we all know. David De Gea's won Player of the Year 4 out of 5 seasons. And potentially, it said Man United were demanding around £75 million for the player to offload him next summer, but we know his future is uncertain at Manchester United. So reportedly, according to the press, if David De Gea is to potentially leave Man United, have identified a few replacements, have identified Jordan Pickford, and now reportedly Jord Blanc, the current Atletico Madrid goalkeeper, has come to the occasion as well. Currently, Jordan Pickford, that had updated in the press the other week, that reportedly it could cost Man United in the region of £60 million. Everton only paid, was it £25-30 million for him, obviously from Sunderland. If he's not the ranks, Sunderland got in the Sunderland senior team. He'd been at quite a few teams on loan as well as Jordan Pickford. He's a number one goalkeeper. His performances at Everton have been very, very good. He's a good shot stopper. And potentially he was very, very good during the World Cup in Russia as well. He's won Everton Player of the Season, Everton Young Player of the Season, and Everton Player of the Season as well since he's been in. He's only been there since 2017 as Jordan Pickford. Potentially, the goalkeeper has got a 6-year contract with Everton, so he's contracted with Everton until 2024. Is the goalkeeper, but obviously, if Man United are preparing to pay 50-60 million pounds for the player, this may tempt Everton to sell him off. As I said, Everton, would make a 25-30 million profit on him. if he was to come to United. But I think this will only, potentially Man United will only want him if David De Gea does leave. Also to Blanc as well, as just apparently mentioned in the press as well. Blanc, reportedly the player has been at Atletico Madrid since 2014. Atletico Madrid. Reportedly, he's been at quite a few other teams on loan as well as the player. He was playing for Benfica, at the age of 17. This is where Atletico Madrid bought Jono Blanc from. I think it was 16 million or something. Atletico Madrid paid Benfica for. He won the domestic treble with Benfica. He was the age of 17 when he played for Benfica, was Jono Blanc. And now he's at Atletico Madrid. He's been at Atletico Madrid since 2014, and I think he's made 174 appearances in all competitions. Apparently supposed to be a very, very good goalkeeper as well. And reportedly, he is under contract with Atletico Madrid to 2021. This is his 5th season now, I think, with Atletico Madrid. And reportedly, he has around an 87 million release clause. Does the player as well. So reportedly, Man United have identified him as a potential replacement as well. So we have got a few replacements if David De Gea does depart the club, but his future still remains certain. But I think, reportedly Jose Mourinho is going to get £10 million spent in January. Reportedly for me, Mourinho needs to go. And, you saw his, you always see Mourinho going on in the press about the stuff that he's won. He's got a good pedigree. He always goes on about the stuff that he's won in the past. We don't give him monkeys because, we've got, at this moment in time, we've got a lot of problems with the club. We've got a lot of problems going on, regarding Jose Mourinho. The team's not performing. Jose Mourinho's style of play at this club is absolutely atrocious. We're not scoring enough goals. We've conceded far too many goals this season. We know Jose Mourinho's known for criticising players. He's done it quite a few times, at Manchester United. He's had disputes, with quite a few of the top players. And, you got out of jail yesterday. We really got out of jail yesterday against Young Boys. As I said, Mourinho had said basically we missed, they said the performance, there was good things, based on the performance, there was good things, there was disappointing things. He said it's good to qualify with one game left. He said it was a difficult group. And he also potentially said, we missed out on a lot of crucial chances as well. And this is what Mourinho had said. But he, according to him yesterday, he said there was heart, desire, and intensity. But he said in the Palace game there wasn't. For me, yesterday the performance was not good enough. We got the win. Fellaini rescued us right at the end of the game. And people, there's pundits that question about his team selection, his tactics are currently wrong, in my opinion. And potentially, in the Champions League, we've potentially made history, but it's a bad record because potentially now we scored one goal in 3 home games in the Champions League group stage. We scored 5 away from home. And potentially the performances are just not good enough. And you saw yesterday, Mourinho smashing the water bottles on the touchline. Potentially may get a touchline ban for that as well. Potentially, we did have a lot of chances. A lot of chances were created. I think we was lacking in the final third. Potentially Rashford had a lot of chances. I don't know how he didn't take one. His chances were wasteful. Martial. To be fair, Martial's been potentially our best outfield player this season, to be quite fair to him. But I think he hasn't been rubbish. But I think, yesterday and Palace game, he hasn't been to his potential level as he has been this season. I don't think he's been that good in the last couple of games, Antonio Martial, to be quite fair. But he did have chances of his own. He was struggling to beat his man yesterday. Fred had a couple of chances. So we did have a lot of chances, and potentially David De Gea had made a world class save in the game. I think he cleared the ball off the line, but it was essentially a world class save, and Mourinho was obviously happy about that. Scholes is, he's not satisfied with what's going on at United. He said yesterday, if Man United were versing a different team, Manchester United would have potentially lost that game. Yesterday, if Young Boys had inequality about them, potentially he said Man United would have lost that game yesterday. He said there were lack of energy in every part of the pitch, and he basically suggested how he felt sorry for Young Boys did Scholes, and he said Manchester United were awful. You know, it was mentioned of lack of fluidity as well. And potentially Mourinho, you know, needs to stop going on about what he's achieved in the past and in terms of silverware, what he's won. But potentially he isn't doing a good job at Manchester United. And I think Mourinho's arrogant. He seems to be all about him all the time. And yeah, it does really seem to be about him all the time. Reportedly, you know, he wants the top four by January. We have got winnable games going up to Christmas. But potentially for me, you know, if we keep performing like this, you know, we're not going to progress in the Champions League, as we all know, because we're not good enough. You know, a lot of money has been spent into that squad. You know, 300 million, just under 400 million pound. Mourinho's purchased on 11 players, and you know, he's obviously sanctioned players off, and I just think this club is too big for Jose Mourinho to handle. He's getting his team selection wrong. He's arrogant. You know, he was frustrated at through the course of the game yesterday. Was relieved, obviously, when that Fellaini goal went in the 91st minute. You know, obviously, smashing water balls on the touchline, and potentially, you know, we're sitting his 7th, 8th in the league. And potentially, you know, we're papering over the cracks at the moment. You know, as I said, you know, we were lucky to win at Bournemouth, lucky to win against Newcastle. Look at Newcastle, so potentially we are papering over cracks. We are getting lucky results. So potentially the performances need to improve, the style of play needs to improve, the football needs to improve. So we know yesterday basically Mourinho had made 6 changes. Obviously Lindelof's out. I think he's dramatically improved this season. Lindelof was out. Sanchez was absent from the squad. He didn't. Pogba and Lukaku came on, but he didn't start Pogba and Lukaku. Obviously Lukaku got the assist yesterday, and he isn't great this season for us. Romelu Lukaku as well. You know, Pogba would come on as well in the game. He didn't start Mata, but he brought one Mata as well. Darmian wasn't there. He missed training. Ashley Young wasn't there either. So potentially, terrible performance in my opinion. I thought first half, you know, the best chance we had was Marcus Rashford. You know, he had a lot of chances, but the best one was you know, in the first 5 minutes, that was the best chance. You know, obviously, best chance for young boys is that world class save that David De Gea made. Potentially, yeah, we did get the win. That's all that matters really. But the performances do need to improve. We are in the knockout stages now. In February, as I said. And I just don't. I think the performances are just basically not good enough. I think Mourinho's changed the whole identity since he's come into the club. I think what's happened to this, you know, Giggs, Scholes, and Neville, and Van Nistelrooy, Ronaldo, and Tevez, and Beckham, and all them type of players. What's happened to all them type of players? And it's just gone downhill. Since Alex Ferguson retired, Mourinho's reportedly going to get tens of £1 million spent in January. We know Mourinho has missed out on a lot of potential transfer targets, as I said. You know, Mourinho at this club's obviously got a good relationship with Matic, and he has a good relationship with Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku has a lot of respect for Mourinho. He's basically pronounced that he's one of Jose Mourinho's Man United favourites. This is what Romelu Lukaku said. But potentially, we do need a strong central defender. We do need an attacker as well to score goals, as I said. So we have got a lot of potential targets on our radar, as I said. Currently, Manchester City drew yesterday with Lyon 2-2. Didn't watch it. Game coming up tonight as well. Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool. That's going to be an interesting affair between both two good sides. Liverpool haven't lost in 12 games. Defensively, fantastic Liverpool. Attackingly, very, very good as well. Potentially Mbappe and Neymar fit for PSG in that game tonight. Liverpool won the first leg against PSG by 3-2 at Anfield. But PSG have got quality players. They've invested a lot of money in their team. They're under financial fair play. Liverpool have spent a lot of money under Jurgen Klopp. You know, he's got a good pedigree with Dortmund, and potentially, you know, they've got world-class players. Spent just under £400 million in 6 transfer windows, Jurgen Klopp. So potentially that's going to be a great game tonight. Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool, and it is always tough going to the Parc des France stadium. It's always tough going to Paris Saint-Germain because they have got a lot of good players and potentially, you know, the best team in France as well. But reportedly, it's also been in the presser today. Reportedly about Fabinho. According to the press about Fabinho, reportedly, I think Liverpool board and Liverpool are willing to sanction him off as long as they get the same around the same sort of money, that they currently paid for him back in May. He's only been at Liverpool Football Club since May. Potentially Liverpool. I think a few teams have been interested, but reportedly now it says Paris Saint-Germain have showed an interest in Fabinho. According to the press, there hasn't been any discussions between Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool yet, but reportedly they play each other tonight. According to the press, it said Paris Saint-Germain could potentially have discussions with Liverpool or PSG potentially making a move for Fabinho because he's a current flop at Liverpool at the moment. He can play as defensive mid. He can also play as a left back as well, and potentially he could potentially go back to France. He's obviously got great experience of being in France. Obviously with Monaco. He won the Liga for the first time with them in nearly 2 decades. He played 233 times and scored 31 goals. For Monaco, did Fabinho, and Liverpool have only had him since May. But potentially, Liverpool, according to the press, it said they were looking to sanction Fabinho off. Use some of that money that they've invested and try and get Christian Pulisic, because it has been mentioned reportedly that Christian Pulisic has been mentioned in the press, and reportedly it did say Liverpool it said according to Borussia Dortmund, they have put a 70 million price tag on Christian Pulisic. Reportedly, Chelsea are interested. Liverpool are interested in the player as well. He's got good young age talent. As I said, he's 20 years of age. He can play as an attacking mid. He can also play as a winner as well. He's risen up the ranks fantastically well with Dortmund. He's been in the senior team with Borussia Dortmund now since 2016. I think he's keen on a move to the Premier League. Is Christian Pulisic, but Borussia Dortmund have confirmed from their own perspective they won't be willing to do any business in January. The Borussia Dortmund director and Borussia Dortmund have confirmed the player will not be leaving in January, and they've confirmed he will be staying until the end of the season. But I think Borussia Dortmund are willing to do business in the summer, next summer, as long as Liverpool, Chelsea and that are preparing to pay the £70 million that Borussia Dortmund are demanding for the player. It comes to an end of his current deal in 2020. There've been discussions of securing him a new deal. Reportedly, the negotiations haven't been currently successful. But reportedly Liverpool have been interested in him. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp obviously has a good relationship with him. Klopp has good pedigree with Dortmund. Obviously, Klopp used to work, with Christian Pulisic. When he was there, Jurgen Klopp as well. So I think Klopp is a big admirer of the player. He's a good young age prospect, and it would be good to see him come and experience the Premier League. Christian Pulisic, but reportedly Borussia Dortmund are willing to do business next summer. Reportedly, I think Chelsea have already had talks as well. But potentially, it has said Chelsea, desperately need him because reportedly Hazard's future is uncertain with Chelsea. Reportedly, it did say in the press the other day that Eden Hazard, for me, is a potential world-class player. He can play as attacking mid, he can play out wide as well, and his performances are absolutely fantastic. He was very, very good during his Lille days as well, was Eden Hazard. And he's been in the Premier League, is it now 6-7 years? His performances for Chelsea, have been absolutely fantastic of Eden Hazard. But reportedly, it came out in the press that reportedly he has admitted, Eden Hazard, that he could leave Chelsea during the course of next summer. He has admitted this, Eden Hazard. He does have 18 months left on his contract. There's not Chelsea nowhere near close to agreeing him a new deal at Chelsea Football Club as yet. It did say Paris Saint-Germain were interested in Eden Hazard, but reportedly, according to the press, he has potentially ruled out the move of going to Paris Saint-Germain and going back to France as well. I think he scored 76 goals in about... I think he scored about 76 goals over 2 century appearances as Eden Hazard, just in the Premier League for Chelsea. He's won honours with Chelsea, won the Europa League in his first season with Chelsea. During his Lille days, he's risen up the ranks fantastically well. He's in their youth academy too, yeah. So he does have a good experience being in France, and then was in the senior team for like 5 years with Lille. Won honours. I won the double with Lille as well, and he has been at Chelsea, since 2012 as Eden Hazard, and he's also won a lot of awards for himself as well. And he's just a world class player. His speed, his acceleration, he's good in the air, close ball controls, fantastic. Very, very good, versatile player indeed. He's Eden Hazard, but potentially, from Chelsea's perspective, it would be an ideal replacement for Eden Hazard. Christian Pulisic from there with Chelsea's if Hazard was to leave next summer, and Pulisic is only I think 20 years of age as well. But reportedly, a few teams have been monitoring in interest because his performances in Germany with Borussia Dortmund have reportedly been phenomenal as well. So there has been potential news about that as well. But potentially for me, United, we've got to win every game now up till Christmas if we want to get our chance of getting the top four. As I said, we're winless in our last two Premier League games. As I said, we're not scoring enough goals. We're conceding far too many goals. We've got a lot of players coming to the end of the deals. And for me, the board need to toughen up against Jose Mourinho. They really, really do need to toughen up. I think they need to get rid of him. From Ryan Giggs' perspective, basically saying sacking Mourinho, will not change anything. He's backing Mourinho considering the success he's had over the years. That's in the past. He's now at a Manchester United. He's now at a big, massive club. And I just don't have any faith that Jose Mourinho is going to take us forward whatsoever. I just don't believe it because I think, a lot of the players don't want to play for him. A lot of these players at this club now are unhappy with Jose Mourinho and potentially think he needs to leave the club. He is aged now, 55, and I just think he needs to leave the club. Does Jose Mourinho, but we scraped that win yesterday. That would have been against a better opposition. We would have absolutely lost that game. Young boys definitely, look dangerous on the counter attack. They definitely were the better team in the second half yesterday than us. We had our chances. We had a hell of a lot of chances. Most of them were waste opportunities. Rashford was our most brightest player in the game, to be quite fair, because he had the most opportunities. He'll be frustrated that he didn't get his name on the score sheet, Marcus Rashford. But yeah, and potentially, we've got, Southampton at the weekend coming up as well away from home. We haven't been good away from home this season, as I said. And, potentially, Manchester United in the Premier League this season, apart from one game, we have only won by a 1-goal deficit. We have only won by a 1-goal deficit. The only game we won by more than 1 goal was Burnley away from home early on this season. So you can tell how much we're lacking. Defensively, we're lacking as well. But the news, as I said about Jono Blanc, Blanc, as I said, he reportedly has an 87 million release clause. He has a contract to 2021 with Atletico Madrid. He's been at Atletico Madrid since 2014 as a player. Reportedly, his performances have been very, very good. Reportedly, Atletico Madrid bought him from Benfica. He was at Benfica at the age of 17. I think, won the domestic treble. Reportedly, Man United have identified him as a potential replacement as well if David De Gea does leave, and Jordan Pickford's been mentioned in the press as well. So potentially for me, Manchester United, are a few years at least off the league. We're nowhere near competitive. We're nowhere near on the same levels as City, Liverpool, or Chelsea. At this moment in time, we are nowhere near on that level. And I just don't have any faith that we're going to be a competitive team or challenge for major honours under Jose Mourinho, as I said. And hasn't been the same since, Ferguson retired. We had nearly 3 decades success with Alex Ferguson. We had great, fantastic players. We still had mediocre players, in the mix. And we've got a lot of mediocre players now. They're worth a lot of money, these players, but they're not performing and they're not playing for Mourinho. And Mourinho is not especially getting the best out of these players. And potentially the performances are just atrocious. We're longest it's the longest run we went without a home goal. It said yesterday in Champions League history. We went over that 264th minute target, basically. So that is a appalling record. So in a way, it's amazing that we're through, basically, because we scraped away from home against Juventus. And we've only basically scored 1 goal in 3 games in the Champions League group stage. So it is how we've got through. I think we've been potentially lucky to get through, to quite honest. We were lucky to win yesterday, lucky to win at Juventus. As I said, so potentially we're not going to get far in the knockout stages. As I said, there's too many competitive teams with too many, world-class players, and obviously, play fantastic football. You got the likes of Real Madrid there, Barcelona's, and, Juventus's, and we're nowhere near on the same levels as the European teams, especially at this moment in time. The only thing I've credited Mourinho for since he's come to the club, winning the FA Cup with us, not the FA Cup, sorry, succeeding, winning the Europa League with us, the League Cup, and, getting us to FA Cup final last season. That's the only thing I do praise Jose Mourinho for. And potentially, I think his tactics are wrong, his team selection's wrong, and this is what, people have been questioning over. And potentially for me, I think I don't. David De Gea's future's uncertain. Potentially for me, Paul Pogba could leave the club, as I said, because he hasn't proven himself at Manchester United. He hasn't proven himself in English football as Paul Pogba. As I said, he hasn't proven himself. He had 4 or 5 good years in Turin, Juventus. He obviously left in 2012 because he wasn't getting enough first team action under Alex Ferguson. He was very, very good Juventus indeed. Was the player. And reportedly, there's been talks about him potentially going back to Juventus. The player, from his perspective, said the other week that he wanted to potentially make a return to Juventus, and he notified the Juventus players about this. The Juventus players that he wanted to depart Old Trafford, Paul Pogba. But potentially Inter Milan have come into the equation. Reportedly, he did say in the press they're willing to offer a staggering £200 million plus 2 of their players. So they're willing to offer 2 of their players, which have been potential Manchester United targets, and 200 million in a deal worth £200 million. And this narrative has stemmed from since Beppe Marotta has potentially become the new Inter Milan director. He's obviously the ex-Juventus director. We know he has a good bond with Paul Pogba, but potentially Beppe Marotta's looking to get Paul Pogba into Milan. He's willing to sanction 2 of the players off as part of the deal, which is Perisic and Milan Skriniar. Potentially Manchester United have been linked to it, but obviously Man United do not want to lose Paul Pogba. But potentially this current offer could actually persuade Man United to offload him, because we would, make a huge profit on him. We paid £89 million for him in 2016. We got him back. We let him go on a free transfer in 2012, and he won honours at Juventus, but he just hasn't really established himself well in the Manchester United team. He's had disputes with Mourinho as well. Riley has confirmed basically that I think he does want Pogba to leave. He confirmed that he's fixed his relationship up with Jose Mourinho. Obviously Mourinho, didn't start him yesterday, brought him on. He started him in Palace the game and took him off. But potentially, there has been talks of potentially to Inter Milan offering £200 million. If this deal was to materialise, it would make Pogba the most expensive player in the world. But potentially, it says Inter Milan willing to offer £200 million plus 2 of their players as part of the deal as well. And this could persuade Manchester United to do this as well. But the breaking news is with David De Gea, Mourinho said from his perspective that David De Gea wants to stay at Old Trafford. Now, Mourinho's changed his perspective, because he said weeks ago he wasn't convinced he was going to sign a new deal. All of a sudden now Mourinho has said David De Gea, he's convinced that David De Gea will secure a new deal with Manchester United. I think, if the deal, we do sign him a new deal, we will have to up his salary to about £300,000 a week. I think Manchester United are aware of this. And he's been a saviour for Manchester United, over the years, that he's been here. Because without him at times, we could be in so much of a worse position than we're in now. He saved us a lot. He's absolutely fantastic world-class goalkeeper, as I said. But potentially the performances are just not improving. There seems to be no confidence in the team. There's no heart, no passion, no desire, lacking in the final third. and potentially we could see players leave the club as well, as I said. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. There'll be more videos coming up soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.